Good morning, fantasy football fans and, favorites. Welcome back. I am Jared Gray. This is Jordan Range with the IDP Hour, part of the full-time fantasy podcast network. I'm very happy to be here. I've been gone for 2 weeks due to some family problems. Everything's good, though, now, and
we're happy to have you back.
Family problems as people. I have problems with my wife around them, but just my brother got injured in a bull riding accident, and he's good though. So happy to be back.
Yeah, we're glad to have you back, man. Me and Steve have been doing our best, but we really need.
Y'all been killing it. Y'all still been putting out some good shows, man. I obviously had to listen. Got to do what I got to do when I can.
Yeah.
My wife's like, "Are you watching your show?" And I'm like, "Yeah,
duh.
I got to.
I got to make sure the standard is held." There you go. Well, I guess today we're not gonna spend our whole show on the rankings today, guys. We're gonna go over it, but we're gonna give you some starts of the week today. A linebacker start, a defensive back start, a defensive lineman start, and we will also be discussing some injuries. I guess we might as well just go ahead and start with that. John Johnson was put on IR yesterday. Strong safety for the Los Angeles Rams, one of the better strong safeties in the league, one of the leading tacklers in the league at defensive back. He had the second most tackles. Him and Eric Weddle both had 51. Landon Collins is the only one ahead of him with 54, but that hurts your IDP rosters big time. Jared, you were just telling me you were almost going to trade for Johnson this last week.
Yeah, I literally had a trade in for him. The guy that I'm trading with, he's on obviously different time zone than me, a good friend of mine. And I saw this John Johnson news. I was like, decline.
Yeah.
Like, revoke. It was so fast. I have Eric Weddle, so thank goodness.
There you go.
And now I'm really happy to have Eric Weddle, who for me is my start of the week because – well, who else is he going to share it with? So,
yeah, they got that rookie, but he's been a little banged up. Taylor Rapp.
Yep.
But he's not. Like I said, I had him in a league. I actually had him in one of my deeper redraft IDP only leagues, and he was fucking doing nothing for me.
Dude, Eric Weddle is ageless, though. It doesn't matter where this guy goes or what he does. He just continues to ball out. Everybody doubted him, including me. Yeah. And this dude is killing it with 51 tackles right now.
Yeah, 51, second most in the league. And I know early in the season in one of our first shows, we talked about him because he showed up on our Studs and Duds show on a different show we do. That's the IDP 411. And I remember noting that because he only played like 60% of snaps, but he still showed up big time in the box score. Since then, he's pretty much been on the field 100% of snaps. And now you have to think with the Rams losing Johnson, he's going to be,
if he's healthy, he is a every week starter, not even a doubt in my mind.
While we're on the Rams, we might as well talk about Jalen Ramsey got traded to the Rams over the last couple of days, which is dope.
Which is probably why, with the injuries that they've gotten, why they did what they did.
Mm-hmm. They got him, and they got Kenny Young, right?
Yeah.
They picked up Kenny Young in another trade. That they got rid of Marcus Peters. So, the Rams kind of reshaped their defense and their defensive starters a lot this last week, honestly, due to injury and trade.
It's going to be interesting how much snap counts those three guys get. So, but with Young getting it, doesn't that just make Littleton more like that's just bigger for me? I'm like, oof.
Littleton, I think Littleton's pretty much secure. I think Young might have a chance to be out there a lot of snaps, though. They need another linebacker. It's pretty much Littleton and then nothing. Clay Matthews is doing okay, but he's more of a, a defensive lineman, edge rusher type of linebacker, not really a tackle guy. Kenny Young, I think, can kind of play multiple roles. He's kind of showed that in Baltimore on the minimal snaps that he's been getting since he, was there last year and this year. So I think that it's good for their defense. I think they've made upgrades across the board. Honestly, losing Johnson sucks. It would have been nice to have all these new pieces there and Johnson. But, getting Jalen Ramsey is key. Marcus Peters, he's got a little piece of my heart because he was a Kansas City Chief. But the reality is he tries to ball hawk way more than he tries to just defend passes. And
he went on that stretch with Kansas City. He had 6 turnovers in 3 games.
Yeah, he led the league in turnovers. I think that year I think he was all pro too.
Well, his rookie season he had 9 interceptions. So
yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, they're just not. They just didn't get that guy, which sucks. But the Ravens need that side, need him on one side. So that's gonna be an interesting trade for them. A lot of big trades in that aspect. I'm still waiting to see if this Trent Williams trade goes through with the Browns.
I don't think it is. I think that's just smoke. That's just
I think it's more than smoke. Why did they trade? The team
it is a bye week, so they are probably pretty bored over there in Cleveland. They're probably trying to.
They have until the 29th is trade deadline. So we'll see what happens. The trade.
Sooner the better, though. I mean, hopefully they get it sorted out. But you want to go ahead and jump into the rankings, and we'll get those out of the way, and then we can just
let's pop this out.
All right, defensive line. You want to go ahead and you can read them off, I guess.
Yeah, we'll go right here. Our straight through.
Yeah, guys, if you're not watching this on YouTube, if you're just listening on Spotify or Google Podcast or Spreaker or something like that, you can check out our YouTube channel too. Should be is it the IDP 411? I believe. That's the actual account name, but both of our shows are on there in separate playlist. And you can see, my pretty face, Jared's pretty face, and then you can see our rankings graphics up there if you want, a visual representation, or you can follow us on Twitter. I will be posting these. I do every week. Usually I make a rankings graphic. This week I just have not had the time, and it's already Thursday. So I'm probably just going to put these up in Word form today. So I've already let that be known to my Twitter followers. But if you guys are listening and you want to see a visual representation of, what these rankings are, make sure to check us out on YouTube or over on Twitter. So,
all right, let's go through your defensive line. Number 1, Danielle Hunter. 2, Joey Bosa. 3, Calais Campbell. 4, DeForest Buckner. 5, Nick Bosa. The Bosa brothers in the top 5. Number 6, Grady Jarrett. Number 7, Cameron Jordan. Number 8, Von Miller. Number 9, Sam Hubbard, that dude's just killing it. Number 10, Justin Houston. 11, J.J. Watt. 12, Chandler Jones. 13, Khalil Mack. 14, Zadarius Smith. 15, Robert Quinn. 16, Harold Landry. 17, Jonathan Allen. 18, Whitney Merciless. 19, Aaron Donald. 20, Terrell Suggs. 21, Yannick Ngakoue. 22, Derek Barnett. 23, Marcus Davenport. And 24, Matt Leonidas.
I think it's Ionitis.
So I don't know what to say.
He spells it kind of weird.
Ionitis.
Yep.
Pretty good list. Pretty solid. Obviously, guys, if you guys understand we had some names and you're thinking, well, why are you saying defensive linemen? A lot of these guys are considered edge rushers, so that's why they're on this list.
Yeah, I pretty much have an all-encompassing, viewpoint of edge rusher, defensive lineman, defensive tackle, defensive end. It's not a very popular opinion in some circles, but I think that's the best way to get more people involved in fantasy on our side of the ball. To make it simpler, we only ask people to really learn and dive into 2 positions on the offensive side of the ball with running backs and wide receivers, and I think it's foolhardy to, arrogant, even audacious to say that if you want to play IDP, you should learn 5 positions and you're going to start multiples of those positions when, your casual fun crowd on the other side of the ball is not even asked to do anything close to that. I think it's kind of I kind of have a little bit more of a concentrated, user-friendly way of looking at this. And if you can't find these guys as an edge rusher or defensive lineman on ESPN, all the guys that I do rank here will be available that way. Most of them are on Sleeper, but when you get on MFL or you get on CBS or Yahoo, sometimes it's a little hard. Some of these guys aren't designated as a defensive lineman, so you'll have to wade through the weeds a little bit to find somebody, but. Yeah, you're kind of your usual suspects again at the top there. Danielle Hunter and Joey Bosa. I don't know if you saw the thing this week about Danielle Hunter breaking the record for, quietly breaking the record for sacks for a guy under like 20-something years old, 25 or 26.
He is a savage, man. And he's been so good and so consistent since he's been in the league.
Oh, yeah. And his tackle numbers are incredible. I mean, that's what I always look for whenever I rank is, what's your tackle floor? Like, let's say everything goes wrong. Like, you can't get to the quarterback. You can't do any big plays. What am I going to be left with? Like, if you're on the field, what is your kind of floor for me? And Danielle Hunter, he has 31 tackles on the season. That's good for, he's up there in the top.
That's huge for
top 5 for a defensive lineman. For perspective, J.J. Watt has 18. Cameron Jordan has like 25, I think. 25, 26. So, having 4 more points on, 6 more on, same number of games, I mean, if a tackle is 1 point in your league, that's a boost, in a position that has, unless they're getting that big play, you kind of have to see what else they're bringing to the table. Danielle Hunter is great at that.
Yeah, I'm way stoked on him. I'm really surprised on what Nick and Joey Bosa are doing. Well, not more Joey, Nick, who's really, he's been injury prone. It's just the facts. I mean, he's got more injuries than I want to talk about. Ab injuries, knee injuries. I mean, and they're not small injuries. These are all surgery injuries. Then he pulls his hamstring, doesn't play all of training camp, has a good first week, and then disappears, and then comes back and has a monster game against Cleveland. But let's be real. And every time somebody brings up somebody playing well against Cleveland's line is trash.
Yeah.
I mean, Baker has less than 2 seconds in the pocket. So that dude, he's not playing well because of it. Yeah. And when your quarterback doesn't play well, your team doesn't play well. I don't care what your defense is doing if you're trying to ball out like that. So if you have a defensive lineman going against the Browns, you got to play him because they're not stopping anybody.
Oh, yeah. There's a couple of defensive lines that are offensive lines that are, you can kind of see it coming. Bengals are 1, Houston's 1, Arizona's 1, Cleveland's 1. You want edge rushers that are going to be playing against that line, defensive linemen that are going to be playing against that line. Redskins aren't that great either, which is kind of why DeForest and Nick Bosa were pretty high this week. They both get the Redskins this week, so I expect good things personally there.
Well, they played pretty well last week after what's-his-face is gone. So, even Adrian Pearson had an over 100-yard rushing last week. So
True. But they're back to trying to establish the run. Didn't he have like 25 carries or something?
Yeah, he had.
And they won, but I mean, they were playing the Dolphins. Come on, don't give me that.
Okay.
I think. Come on.
Well, which is why I could say maybe we'll just push him around.
Yeah. Grady Jarrett, he's doing incredible this year. Another guy that's just like a tackle freak right now. And at D tackle, he's kind of doing what Snacks Harrison was doing last year, who he's not showing up in the box score much this season. But I mean, he's just tackling everybody, and he's getting a couple sacks, a couple of big plays in there. Von Miller has a really favorable matchup this week. He actually plays the Chiefs tonight. I just want to see
Von Miller return to form. I mean,
Yeah, I think Vic Fangio is kind of okay. The whole Denver Broncos team has not really looked good for several years, honestly. I mean, they've got good players, and they've gone places. I mean, even the year they won the Super Bowl, they didn't even really look that good. C.J. Anderson was their running back. Brock Osweiler was their quarterback. They won that, Super Bowl on defense. It's just
Peyton Manning was their quarterback.
Well, that was not Peyton Manning. That was a shell of Peyton Manning.
Yeah, well, the crazy thing, the year before they threw like 50 touchdowns.
Yeah, so. But I mean, we're looking back like 6 seasons now, man.
Yeah, that's way back.
Long time since the Broncos were good, quote unquote. So, yeah, it's been tough to watch Von Miller not be super successful, but I think he's got plenty of gas left in the tank, and he plays at Chiefs, whose offensive line right now is completely tore up. I know Eric Fisher's out tonight. They've got another guy. I can't remember his name. Another tackle's out. So,
no matter when they play, this is a good game to watch.
Yeah,
this is going to be one of the better Thursday night games because it's a rivalry. So, I mean, even if it was a blowout, it would still be a good game because the rivalry.
Mm-hmm. And
there's going to be the chippy.
They're going to push back too. I mean, the Kansas City defense is nothing to be scared of. So, I mean, this could be a chance for them to look good. So, the Broncos. So, we'll see. People have been sneaking out wins over the Chiefs the past couple of weeks, not making me very happy. Other guys on this list that are kind of notable, Robert Quinn. He's been having a really good season since he came back from his suspension. He's got like 5 sacks on the season, which is pretty incredible. DeMarcus Lawrence, his stablemate.
5 sacks in what? Just a couple games.
4 or 5 games. So, I mean, that's a pretty good pace. Harold Landry's been killing it for Tennessee. He's a guy that I've been kind of keeping my eye on, and he's got a good tackle floor as well. So, he's slowly been working up my rankings. I think this might be the first week he's kind of popped in there. He's got a good matchup against the Chargers. And what's your usual suspects there in the top 12? Chandler Jones, J.J. Watt. Justin Houston's got a really good matchup against the Texans, whose offensive line has been meh. At best. They're letting, Deshaun Watson's getting sacked a lot. Cardinals are getting sacked a lot. So
it's going to be interesting because they're going to have Darius Leonard back. So,
yeah, I have him in my rankings. I kind of put him a little bit tentatively low. If we want to go ahead and shift over to linebacker, we probably could because there's maybe a little bit more fun over there to talk about. I know C.J. Mosley apparently still isn't coming back. His groin injury, this dude's been gone the whole season. I mean, he played part of the first game. And, he's just – we have nothing on him, Gase said – last thing I saw was Gase said he's minute to minute, whatever that means.
Yeah, that's got to be one of the weirdest things. I mean, you're going to hear day to day and stuff like that. But minute to minute, little weird, to say the least.
Adam Gase, just add it to the stack of things that he's done that have been weird or, a little misplaced, misguided.
I'm with you. It's just kind of weird, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I'll go ahead and, while you're situating those, I'll go ahead and just read these linebacker rankings off for week 7. Jared's trying to get them up for the people on YouTube. We got week 7. I got Blake Martinez at the top, Luke Kuechly at the top. Oh, he got him in there.
I'm here for you.
I'll go and keep reading them. We got Bobby Wagner at 3, Jordan Hicks at 4, Roquan Smith at 5, Jalen Smith at 6, Rashaan Evans at 7, Zach Cunningham at 8, Shaq Thompson at 9, Leighton Vander Esch at 10, Corey Littleton at 11, Darius Leonard came in at 12, your boy Danny Trevathan 13, Quan Alexander 14, Tremaine Edmonds 15, Deion Jones comes in at 16. His season, I thought he'd have a good week last week. He did not. I'm kind of not really sure what I think about him anymore.
So I'm going to flip you on this one. I'm going to take Deion Jones out and put his boy Devondre Campbell in.
Yeah, that's probably what I should have done, honestly. Devondre
Who's
Campbell.
balling. I mean, you know me, I was hiring because I just think he's a good tackler. So,
And he is. I mean, the numbers don't lie on that one. We had Fred Warner, 17, Matt Milano, 18, Patrick Onwuzurike at 19, Neville Hewitt at 20, Hassan Reddick, 21, KJ Wright, 22, Benardrick McKinney, 23, and Alec Ogletree at 24. You'll have to forgive the typos that are in there, folks. The final product should be a little bit better than that when it hits Twitter. But, Blake Martinez and Luke Kuechly, coming into the season, you kind of knew these guys were going to be, those guys. And they've definitely shown up for your team. I mean, Blake Martinez has had a couple of really, really good games. Luke Kuechly had that pick last week that he almost housed for a touchdown. Oh, my gosh. Luke Kuechly doesn't play this week.
Yeah, Luke Kuechly does not play this week.
All right. Well, there you go. We'll just slide him out of there. Slide everybody up a spot, and we'll drop Devondre Campbell in.
Well, him and Shaq Thompson, you can take him out.
Oh, man. Come on, dude.
It's 4:30 in the morning here, so I'll let it pass.
I appreciate it. But Devondre Campbell, you can definitely slide him into one of those spots without thinking about it. Anthony Walker's another guy who was just outside of my top 24. So those are a couple of good guys to get in there. So you can probably play them both as linebacker 1s and 2s this week. But don't want to take away from what Kuechly and Thompson have done. I mean, they're both having outstanding seasons. I'm not sure a lot of people saw that coming for Shaq Thompson. I know a lot of people were kind of feeling that Jermaine Carter guy.
Yeah,
but this week you get back Milano and Edmonds this week too. A couple of guys that people drafted. I know people drafted Edmonds pretty high. Milano a little less so, but they've both been performing very well. There's a lot of tandems. Steve and I were talking about this on the other show. There's a lot of really good tandems at linebacker this season. Last season it was kind of Leighton Vander Esch and Jalen Smith, and that was kind of where most people went when they were talking about tandems. But this year there's a bunch of really nice tandems.
Yeah, it's been some good playing. When, like we talked about, Corey Littleton and Kenny Young, teaming up, that could be fun first year. So we'll see what's going to happen with him. Patrick Onwasser and then AJ coming to Denver was actually a big surprise. I had a question on where not somebody should start AJ last week, and I'm like, man, you got to start AJ.
Yeah.
And glad I told him because, man, he had a good game.
Yeah, I was not really paying much attention to that one. I should probably look into him a little bit more. I had a question or two about him as well, and I was just kind of like, not,
So you got Roquan on here.
Yeah, I got him on there. Where's he at? At 5? Yeah. I think he's going to have a good game. I mean, his little thing with the couple of weeks ago where he just missed for God knows what. I mean, we still don't know. Yeah, it was they made a big deal out of it. I mean, it was a 24-hour news cycle, but it was a big deal for a while. We still don't know what happened. He came back. He had an okay game. They're coming off their bye. I think he's gonna crush. Honestly, I mean, I have him high. He has the potential.
That just makes Danny Trevathan that much more valuable to me because when DT played well, but he didn't play great without Roquan. And when Roquan was in, people focus on him. So when that happens, Danny Trevathan balls out. I mean, he had a 30-point game the other day in a regular league. He had 2 forced fumbles, a sack, a strip sack, 3 batted passes, which one of them he should have intercepted. I mean, when Roquan's in, he balls, and he's going to. And I like him so much more with Roquan playing than I do without him playing personally.
Yeah, and there's another one of those tandems again. I mean, we're right back at it. I mean, 2 guys on the same team that provide very similar value, and they feed off each other. They do well. I mean, even if one does good and the other one doesn't do good, it's like the other one's not good. I mean, he's just like not hitting double-digit tackles, but he's still getting high tackle numbers. And on that defense that they have with Chicago, the turnover, ability, the playmaking ability they have, I want guys on teams like that too. Playmakers around them, playmakers themselves, high tackle floors. Both those guys. I mean,
a guy you don't have on here who I'm going to throw in here, Jayon Brown.
Yeah, he got hurt last week, and I was looking, and pretty much I don't think he didn't practice on Wednesday. So I
mean, if he doesn't play, then Rashaan Evans is a must start everywhere. Yeah. I mean, he's already playing well, but.
Well, what's crazy is I was looking at some stuff. Rashaan Evans has actually played more snaps than Jayon Brown this year. I think Rashaan Evans is somewhere around 87, and Jayon Brown's just a hair under 80. He's like at 79. I did not realize that.
Which is interesting because Jayon Brown was doing the play calling. So
and he's the better. He's a little better in coverage. So it's weird. It might be due, their snap percentages. So it might be due to him getting pulled out a couple of times because he did get nicked up. I know. And like I said, we're not entirely sure about his status for this week. That's why I left him off. So maybe that had some effect on the overall percentages. But even before this week, and when he got hurt this last week, he was playing less than Evans. Which
so how crazy is Zach Brown got cut by Philly?
Phillies, I don't know. They're one of those organizations where it seems like they're just a mess right now.
But they're the hardest team in the league to rush against.
Yeah, because Carson Wentz is oh my gosh, I dropped my pen. It's because Carson Wentz is he's a little bit more mobile than we remembered. Last year's version of Carson Wentz was not the original version of Carson Wentz, and he's kind of come back to form in that respect.
Yeah. it's just crazy to me how good defensively and offensively they're playing considering their record. So we'll see what Philly has. I mean,
I'm surprised that I'm surprised that the Rams didn't go looking for him the way they kind of been snatching up, these kind of older veteran guys like Clay Matthews, like Eric Weddle. I'm surprised that they didn't make a move for him, and they went the Kenny Young route. Personally,
yeah, well, they went a little younger for sure, and that's.
But the Rams, people have been dragging the Rams through the mud on social media. Apparently, they are. I don't know. I thought it was funny that some people were saying the Jalen Ramsey trade was bad, and I said to my buddy, if the Rams were 6-0, this would have been the smartest move ever made.
Yeah, I don't know. I like the Jalen Ramsey trade. I think he's going to be miraculously healed.
Oh yeah, he already is. I saw something last night. Apparently, his back's fine.
I saw this old wrestling meme where he's he just sits up. Oh, Jalen Ramsey's back.
Yeah, right? I saw that. Right after
trade.
I mean, you guys are listening and you're not on Twitter, you got to get on Twitter. That's where you get the fastest information. You get to follow the real people in real time. Adam Schefter, Ian Rappaport. These guys are usually the ones that are breaking this.
It's
kind
crazy
of
how fast Schefter puts his stuff out to me.
Oh
sometimes.
Yeah, and his Twitter is all. I mean, it's all work. It's just he's just this is what's happening. He doesn't really chop it up or vibe, with anybody. He's just all work.
He's real. I like him. I've always been a fan.
But I like that, but it's fun because Twitter's where the conversation happens. So if you want to know what people, instant reactions, you gotta get on Twitter. Hassan Reddick is a guy I really wanted to highlight today. He's at 21. He's actually one of the top 15, top 20 tackle leaders at linebacker. He missed that first week because he came off that injury. He's been playing really good. He's a former first round draft pick. He's had trouble staying on the field the past 2 years, but the coaching situation the past 2 years in Arizona has been less than ideal. And now they seem to have found their guy at coach. He's on the field a lot and he's producing for IDP and he's young. So if you're in an IDP Dynasty League, he's a guy that I might be going to look for ASAP, honestly.
Oh yeah, especially for Dynasty League. And he's balling.
He's balling. He's young. He can play a little bit of coverage. Jordan Hicks is doing good, but Jordan Hicks isn't going to be there forever. He wasn't drafted there. So I'd be looking to go get Hassan Reddick. He's got a pretty decent matchup this week. They play the Chargers, I believe. No, not the Chargers. Arizona plays the Saints. So that's a pretty friendly matchup for linebackers. Saints like to hold the ball, control the time possession. So he should have plenty of tackle opportunities. And their defense is not very good at stopping.
That could be a fun one, man.
Teddy versus Tyler.
Yeah, well, and that's the crazy thing is because Kyler Murray, they put a stat out. He actually broke a record last week through the first 6 games, averaging over 20 completions.
Damn,
he's the only player to ever do that.
And he was missing Christian Kirk last week too.
Yeah, so that's pretty crazy. He balled out last week. It was 27 for 37 with 3 touchdowns. It was it's fine slowing down for him, which is really bad for everybody else because that dude runs a 4.340, a legit 4.340, and one of the best athletes in all of pro football. And I actually had an argument with somebody on where he was one of the better athletes. Let's be real, dude. No other player has ever been drafted in the top 10 in both drafts, Major League and NFL, except Kyler Murray. So this says a lot about him.
If they do not take a offensive lineman with their first draft pick next year, I
can't believe they took 3 wide receivers this year.
I know, and only one of them has really been useful. Well, no, he hasn't even been. None of them have been useful, really.
Well, yeah, it's
Kirk was there last year, so he doesn't even count.
Yeah, so it's been Larry Fitzgerald and Kirk for the most part. They got Isabella, who's finally come on a little bit, and they're using kind of Keyshawn Johnson, and then the other kid is injured, so he went to IR.
3 wide receivers, a little foolhardy.
But that's their offense. I mean, they're going to pass a lot. So I'm just kind of surprised how much David Johnson's playing. But I'm with you. They need to go after that side. But you're also seeing a lot of defensive starts, and that's why we're talking about the offensive here, because the offense is getting on the field, off the field. Defense is playing a ton. And I'm pretty sure Arizona is still like in the top 5 of most offensive pass plays. So, which is bonkers.
Yeah, well, that's all they do. I mean, David Johnson's. I mean, he's out there a ton of snaps, but he's getting more targets almost, and he's getting carries.
Yep. I mean, it's just the offense that they run, which really helps the defense because they're just going to be out there playing more. So,
yeah,
we'll see.
I guess we can move on to the defensive backs. And again, guys, if you're not, watching this, these will get posted. These should be on my Twitter feed. Today. Today is 10/17/2019. Denver versus the Chiefs tonight on Thursday Night Football. We got Halloween coming up. We are in week 7, which is insane to think about. I can't believe the season's. I mean, it's just flying by. This is my first real season doing content creation. I'm usually just out there, kind of shit posting and talking on Twitter to people, but I'm actually kind of contributing this year, and it's a totally different kind of side of the ball, side of the game, when you're not just managing your fantasy teams, but you're actually, digging into stats, earlier than you would have. You're not looking necessarily back at things, hindsight's 2020. You're kind of looking forward and trying to project a lot more. So hopefully we're helping you all do that. We do have another show that is over on the Expand the Box Score podcast network. A little different vibe than this, but still a good show. It's called the IDP 411. We usually go over the previous week's kind of studs and duds. We talk a little bit.
I kind of liked your show this week, though.
Yeah, I liked it too. We kind of did like an audit of what the season had been like. So if you guys want to go check that out, through the first 6 weeks, we just kind of ran down, your leaders at certain positions and, who surprised us, who's popping out to us, and who we kind of expected to be there. So that was a pretty good one. But this is a good show too, Full-Time Fantasy Podcast Network. Shout out to them. This is our original home. We like this show a lot. We like talking about the upcoming week. Unfortunately, Jared's had the family thing going on, and me and Steve have been doing the best we can. And hopefully you guys have been enjoying it. Like I said, this week's the first week I probably won't have my graphic up, but I'll still put my top 24 rankings out for y'all, and hopefully they'll give you something to work with, something to build your starting lineup this week around. Don't forget, I forgot. I already messed up. I've done this the past couple of weeks. These bye weeks kill me, man. I need to get like an intern to come through and read all this stuff behind me. But we got Carolina on a bye, Cleveland on a bye, Pittsburgh on a bye, and Tampa Bay on a bye. And it seems like every week I end up putting somebody that's on a bye in my rankings. And this week I had Luke Kuechly and I had Shaq Thompson in there at linebacker. So my apologies. When it finally hits Twitter later today, I will have that cleaned up for you all. But let's go ahead and hop into these defensive backs, bro.
Yeah, I got you. Let's go number 1, Landon Collins. Number 2, Jamal Adams. Number 3, Justin Reed. Number 4, Antoine Bethea. Number 5, Harrison Smith. Number 6, Jabril Peppers. Number 7, Sean Williams. Number 8, Tracy Walker. Number 9, Eric Weddle. I'm going to kind of argue with that one. I think he's going to be a top 5 guy this
close.
week.
He's close.
We'll see. Yeah, I mean, I still like his spot, considering he wasn't on here at the start of the season. Number 10, Harrison Smith. Number 11, Jesse Bates. Number 12, Monte Nicholson, who I just picked up off the waiver wire, by the way, which was nuts.
I picked him up on a couple waiver wires. And what's crazy is I've been picking him up and dropping him as needed because nobody wants him. I'm like, all right, I mean, I'll pick him up and play him. And then when I need to, slide somebody out for a bye week or whatever, I'll drop him. And for whatever reason, nobody seems to be super interested in him, which is fine with me.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take a top 15 guy all week. So number 13, Ronnie Harrison. Number 14, Von Bell. Number 15.
Your dude, Jesse Bates.
Yeah, you put Jesse Bates in here twice, by the way.
Did I really?
Yep.
Oh, my gosh.
He's number 11.
Oh, my gosh.
I'm going to take him out. We're going to move your boys up. I'm usually pretty good about catching that stuff. Number 16, Budda Baker. Number 17, Anthony Harris. Number 18, Logan Ryan. Number 19, Kareem Jackson. Number 20, Kari Willis. Number 21, Tyrann Mathieu, who finally jumps on your list. 22, Clinton Dix. 23, Kenny Vaccaro. 24, Cara Allen. Somebody that I could tell you who I was thinking about a little bit ago.
I've been thinking about Anthony Harris a lot. He was a guy that was really close to making the list, and honestly, with me putting Jesse Bates
Anthony Harris is number 17.
Yeah, well, I'll probably – oh, is he? Oh, my gosh.
Them early mornings be getting you.
I know, dude, and late nights, I mean, and kids calling in and out of bed all night. I might as well not sleep.
I hear you. I don't know. So just talking about that, I'll think of a name here in a little bit. It's going to pop in my head. I'm like,
Logan Ryan is a guy we need to talk about. I was telling Steve this last week, I probably put a few cornerbacks in my ranking because usually I just stick with safeties. But some of these cornerbacks this year have really been hitting. And I mean, Logan Ryan he's the man.
Logan Ryan is balling out.
He has like the second most fantasy points at any defensive back. He's had a forced fumble. He's had 2 interceptions. 4 quarterback hits for a defensive back or cornerback. Let that sink in. That's a wild number right there. He's got 2.5 sacks. That's another wild number for a cornerback. And he's got a grand total of 35 tackles. So those are some big numbers for a guy that plays corner. He's a big play corner too. I think he took one back for a touchdown earlier in the season. And he's on Tennessee Titans, whose offense is absolute garbage.
Jalen Ramsey's going to play this week, right?
I don't know. They're saying that they're not sure he will or not. I'm sure he'll. I mean, it's probably going to be like the Minkah Fitzpatrick thing where it's like, oh, we don't know what he's going to do, and then he plays 100% of snaps. I mean, you have to think he will. He's good enough to where he's good enough. I mean, he's the best corner in football, right? I mean, maybe Patrick Peterson, but he's not playing football right now. I mean, I don't even know who else you would put ahead of him, honestly. Marshawn Lattimore.
My question to you, do you think Earl Thomas is going to be a bigger factor now that Jefferson's out?
I don't know, honestly. He's
playing really, pretty well. I mean,
yeah, he hasn't done anything that's really impressed me, though.
He knocked out Mason Rudolph. So
yeah,
true. One of the ugliest hits I've ever seen.
Mason Rudolph, though, I mean, is that somebody you're really proud of saying that you did anything to?
Well, I mean, he is their starting quarterback, and I mean, honestly, he's been playing pretty well, except when he got planted.
He's been playing all right. I don't know. He needs to get Juju the ball more.
Well, the other quarterback, Hodges, does not get Juju the ball at all, so there's that.
True. All right. Calm down. But Logan Ryan, I put him on here this week. I think you guys can start him with confidence at corner if you have a defensive back slot like some people do in Sleeper League. Kareem Jackson, he's another guy that I was slowly I was cooling on, but as soon as I started saying I was cooling on him, he had the game that I thought he was going to have all season. He had like 10 tackles and something else. I don't know. He put up a good fantasy day finally. Landon Collins and Jamal Adams are obviously your studs, though, your number one guys. Landon Collins has the most tackles of anybody at defensive back with 55. Their defense spends a lot of time on the field, and their linebackers are kind of a hodgepodge, ragtag group of guys in red jerseys. There's like Cole Holcomb. There's one other guy that people are kind of in on, but if you can get either one of these safeties for the Redskins, Landon Collins or Monte Nicholson especially, you're probably going to be able to find out some of your shallower, thinner leagues. I've
got a pretty big league where you have 26 players on your team, and he was on my waiver wire, which was crazy to me.
Yeah, I'm in a league like that too. When I found Terrell Edmonds out there a couple of weeks back, Ronnie Harrison, Jarod Wilson, who I don't know if Jarod Wilson made this list or not this week. He might be a better person to put in at 15 to plug and play over Earl Thomas, honestly.
I'm good with that.
I misspoke earlier, too. The Cardinals play the Giants this week. They play the Saints next week.
They play the Giants? That might be a must play then.
Oh, yeah. I'm playing all. I mean, you have to play all Cardinals IDP players, honestly. I mean,
but the funny thing about that is Saquon's back, too. So that could be a fun game.
This could be fun. I forgot. Saquon. It's been a weird season without Saquon. I'm surprised they've they've kind of held it together. What is their record right now? The Giants.
Quarterback's kind of balling a little bit.
The New York Giants are 2-4. They've only lost.
So are the freaking Cleveland Browns. We thought they were going to be.
Yeah, Browns are.
I thought they'd be 5-2 this season.
Biggest miss of the offseason has been the Browns entirely. They were so hyped up.
Again, it's that offensive line is so bad.
Mm-hmm. I mean, and you think back to week 1 when the Titans completely mopped the floor with them. Yeah,
they're a decent run offensive line. They're a horrible pass defensive line.
Mm-hmm.
They can't pass protect to save their lives.
Yeah. Well, let's like we said, guys, if you're listening, you can find these on our Twitter, my Twitter. Jared retweets them, obviously. The rankings, like I said, they're not perfect right now. A couple typos here and there. We'll get that cleaned up. We'll get that out to you, out to the Twitter sphere. But let's go ahead and talk starts of the week because we're kind of running out of time here.
Yeah, let's do that. Like I said, we'll start from the beginning. I said Eric Weddle's definitely a start for the week for me. 51 tackles on the year. With John Johnson going down, he's just more of a start for the week for me because now he has to play better. And I like John Johnson. I mean, he's one of the best players in all fantasy football and all pro football when it comes to the safety side. But Eric Weddle's a must start for me for my safety.
100% agree, and especially like you said with Johnson going down, he was already a strong play. He's even stronger now. Me at defensive back, I'm going to go with Logan Ryan, cornerback, the Tennessee Titans. We were just talking about him a minute ago. Because he's a corner, he wasn't super duper high on my rankings because there's just a little bit more variability. But he's crushed it this season. He's got 35 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, 2.5 sacks, which is huge if you're a cornerback. I know if you're in some of these MFL leagues, cornerbacks get premiums for these bigger stats. So, a sack can be a 10-plus point play in some of these leagues for a corner. 4 quarterback hits, 6 passes defended, 2 interceptions, a forced fumble. He's been having a great, great season. And like I said, the Titans spend a lot of time on the field on defense, so there's always going to be opportunities for a guy like him to continue what he's doing. And honestly, right now, I think he's the second highest, according to fantasydata.com, which is a place I like to go sometimes. I also go to spend a lot of time on expandtheboxscore.com. But these guys over here at Fantasy Data, they kind of condense it to fantasy points, and he's the second highest fantasy points guy at defensive back on the season right now. Logan Ryan is, which is kind of incredible for a corner.
Yeah, it's kind of bonkers.
And especially with the tackle numbers he's got. I mean, they're up there with all these strong safeties, so good for him.
He's very high. He continues to play well. For me, my linebacker, I'll be honest, I could play everybody on the Rams this week. I have no doubt in my mind I can do that. But everybody can say, let's go with Blake Martinez. That's not what we do here. I'm not going to give you the number one guy every time because, well, that's just not who I am. It's not who you are. I want to give you a guy that people aren't really looking at, or people that we expect to play well and isn't the number one dude.
Yeah, so, he might be a guy you're just wanting to work into your lineup somehow. You're trying to figure out how to do that. We're here to give him confidence and say, this could be the play. This is the play. So for
me, Danny Trevathan is Mr. Consistent, and that's what I want is consistency in my linebacker. And I know he plays well, and I know he plays well with Roquan there or not there. So Danny Trevathan is a must-start for me every week, bar none. So he's my guy.
Nice. I like that play. I'm going to go with a dude who's kind of been a little banged up this season, but he came screaming back last week with a big game. I'm going to go with Alec Ogletree. He had 12 tackles last week when he played. He's on a team, the Giants, that has a little bit of trouble on the offensive side of the ball. They have a little trouble moving it. Their defense spends a lot of time on the field, and Alec Ogletree is a proven veteran. He used to be on the Rams.
He was a baller with the Rams, dude.
He was a baller with the Rams. He's still a baller. He had 12 tackles last week, and if you watched him play, he didn't look like – and he's coming off a hamstring injury. He did not look like he was slowed down at all. So he's a guy I have complete confidence again this week, especially like you were saying, they're playing the Cardinals. They like to pass the ball a lot, so that means that ball's going to be getting past that defensive line, which means, a guy like him is going to be in the middle of the field, making these tackles on these guys coming across. Getting these dump-offs out of the backfield from David Johnson, Chase Edmonds. And, he last week, like I said, if you watch that game, he was on a tear. So he's my star of the week this week, Alec Ogletree. And he has a good chance. I have him ranked at 24. He has a good chance to finish well ahead of that this week at linebacker. So if you got him on your roster and you're, deciding between, I don't know, him and Devin White and, I don't know, Cole Holcomb or something like that, that dude on the Redskins, I'll go, just let you know, Alec Ogletree is where you're going to want to play, where you want to go for that. So
I completely agree. I like that kid a lot. I mean, I always have liked him. I mean, yeah, he's just a veteran presence at this point, and he has still great athletic ability. So he's a good start.
He's
especially
a playmaker too. He can get a touchdown. He can get an interception. This guy.
3 years ago, he was my number one linebacker all day long.
People we're quick to forget. You get the hot new name, the hot sexy name coming up. Roquan Swift, Tremaine Edmonds. And it's like, yeah, that's good, but some of these guys out here are just as good.
Yeah, he can still ball. Defensive line one's always a little tough to go at. Like you already said, that San Francisco has a really good matchup this week, so I know that's where something that you're looking at. I've been high on Sam Hubbard, so I'm not going to give you that. Someone who's been just right there, and he's always in on the quarterback, but either has a really good game or an okay game, is Zadarius Smith.
Yeah,
he has been right there all year long. I mean, he probably could have 3 or 4 more sacks for sure.
Easily. I love it.
He has so many quarterback hurries, and it's pretty awesome to watch him. So I'm with you. I know that you've been high on him.
I was listening to that broadcast the other night. Are him and Preston Smith, are they brothers? I think it was Booger who said the Smith brothers, and I didn't. I need to vet that, but Zadarius Smith and Preston Smith are.
I'll be honest with you.
Pass rushers.
Booger McFarland
doesn't have any clue what he's talking about.
No, man. When he said the other day about Devin Bush, and I know we talked about this. Oh, this is his coming out party. I'm like, bro, have you watched this dude play at all this season?
Yeah, he literally came out like the first 5 minutes.
This dude came out in the preseason, bro, when he had 12 tackles. All right,
and a half.
I can't. I don't know. I could just mute Booger McFarland on my broadcast and be perfectly fine.
True. But I'm glad you brought up Zadarius. He's, he's a really high graded PFF guy. He's, like you said, he's just barely missed on 3 or 4 more sacks than he's got already, and he's already one of the sack leaders. Great.
Yeah, he could ball out easily.
He can beat double teams too, and that's the other thing. I saw a stat on Twitter. He's one of he's the top 10 in double teams this season, like percentage of his snaps where he's getting double teamed, and he's still a sack leader.
Which is why Preston Smith's playing so well. So,
Yep. Both of them are good. I'm glad you brought up Zadarius. I'm going to go. I mean, this might seem like low-hanging fruit because I have him in my top 5, but I don't think so because I think there's a lot of people out there that are fading him. I mean, I saw him dropped in a league with a guy that we used to be associated with, Nick Bosa. This dude gets the Bengals this week, right?
He does.
So the Bengals that's Jacksonville. Hold up.
Yeah, we're just
talking. He gets the
Redskins. Yep.
He gets the Redskins this week. Offensive line is definitely questionable. Quarterback play is, horrific. They got their first win this last week, I think, against Miami. I'm not sure if that's something to be proud of, but they did it. Yeah, exactly.
The battle for the number 1 pick.
That defensive line has got Dee Ford on it. It's got Nick Bosa on it. It's got DeForest Buckner on it. I mean, it's got top 5 pick Solomon Thomas on it, too, if you want to go there. So, this defense, I don't want to go there either. So this defensive line is got the draft pedigree. It's got the name value. The team is winning. And Nick Bosa is that dude. He's got crazy number of pressures. Basically every time he's on the field, he's pressuring. He hasn't had a ton of sacks yet, but those are going to fall his way. You can see that eventually. And he's producing pretty decent number of tackles, weekly. So he's a guy that you can feel safe starting. And honestly, this week you should, work him into your lineup. I know maybe you might be a little hesitant, because of the injury and all this, but play him. He's a top tier option. He's an elite edge rusher. He's got a good matchup.
He's healthy.
When he's healthy. But that's the thing. He's healthy right now. So play him. You know, we don't.
It only takes 5 minutes. I'm sorry. The Bosa.
He's playing a ton of snaps too, though. He's not hurting himself. You know, he's not playing the practice squad anymore. I mean, he's playing high-level offensive lineman out there, and he is playing the whole game. So
I understand the throwback. I'm just a little bit hesitant on the guy because he's had so many injuries.
Yeah. True.
Like I said early before the show started, when me just talking, Aaron Donald's finally starting to show up, and I think you can get him. Well, before last week, I think you could have got him at a cheap price. Maybe.
I have him in one league. If you're in that league with me, you can come get him right now.
Hell yeah.
He's available.
Probably dropped him in that league.
I'm not going to drop him. I'm not that.
No, I probably dropped him.
Oh, no. I drafted him. I know I did because that was the only league I drafted him in, and I felt real good about it. I was like, I'm special. And the past 6 weeks, I have not felt very special. So those are the starts of the week. We'll go over them again real fast. At linebacker, Alec Ogletree for me. And we got Danny Trevathan from Jarod. Then at defensive back, Logan Ryan for me. Eric Weddle for Jarod. And then at defensive lineman, you got Zadarius Smith, who's crushing it in Green Bay. And then you got the dude, Nick Bosa, for me. So those guys, you know, they should all hit. You know, I mean, we said it, so it's got to be real, right?
That's right. I mean, let's be honest. I think we've had a whopping 2 misses all year.
That's the secret, bro. It's a quantum mechanics. You got to speak it into existence.
I mean, I feel like overall we've done pretty well. So you guys keep listening to us. You know, I'm sorry I've been gone for a couple of weeks. Obviously, I had some stuff to do. I did get some golf in, so there's that.
There you go. That's what he's been doing the past few weeks, golfing.
I wish I was golfing for 2 weeks straight. That'd be
dude. I haven't been golfing since like May, and it's literally driving me crazy.
That's un-American.
I know, and I'm a dad too. Like, shouldn't I be golfing every weekend? Like,
yeah. So I mean, it's just one of those things. I'm really happy to be back. You guys really carried the load for me, and I appreciate that. And
yeah, of course, man. This is what we do. We're here week in, week out. I mean, like he was saying, it's early. You know, early for him, early for me. But we want to get this content out there to the guys, the folks that listen to it. You know, we might not be a shit ton of people, but I mean, you know, 20, 30, 50, 100, 200, whatever it is, you know, we are happy to do this. We are happy to break this stuff down. It's a labor of love, as they say. So
make sure you guys, if you're on YouTube, go in here, ask your questions. We will answer them on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
I already have 3 or 4 questions that we have to answer. But our show is Sunday to answer our questions. We'll be there on bright and early to answer all your questions on that. So,
yep, we did. We missed this last week on the live cast, but this week we'll be right back at it. We'll have the whole squad up there. Me, Steve, Jarod. Get your questions in. Once again, shout out to the Full-Time Fantasy Podcast Network. And until next week, you know, guys, this has been the IDP Hour, and we're happy to be here, and we'll see you next week.
Let's go.